The illogical ideas ruining the lives of modern women.
Fact that a woman will get in a car designed and built by a man and go to a studio that was built by men and sit on a chair that was built by men and talk to a camera that was built by men and tell the world that men ain't shit.
Are men trash?
Cis, heterosexual men, absolutely, especially white men.
Shows she is worse than low IQ. She's a bad person. Men have built a society so safe in the West that women can sit on TV and hate us. You couldn't do that unless men built you a safe society in the first place.
So, who is a strong and independent woman? Let me try to explain. She's a lazy, undisciplined person who has had the benefits of being desirable and needs to be cared for from a young age. She has benefited from female-only scholarships, enrollment, and hiring quotas, has had at least one car paid for by a man in her life, and is obsessed with an image of the point of being a shopaholic, and in many cases borrowing money to pay for that lifestyle. She also has men begging to be with her, and she keeps her options open. Then, one day, a man breaks up with her, and the credit card and car payments come due, and she doesn't remember that the prices were so high. So now all men are bad. She's oppressed because she didn't get the promotion at work, even though she didn't apply for it, and laments her great misfortune of living under patriarchy.
Why do you want your own house?
So I could just be financially dependent, pick where I want to live.
Even if you're married?
Yeah, like I would probably buy a house before pursuing dating for marriage, yeah.
And then he would have his own house and you'd...
I guess from there we would figure it out. From there, if we wanted to sell the house or both live in the house, like I'd be fine moving a guy into my house, yeah.
And you would still own the house? Or you'd split the house with him? Or you'd transfer it to him?
I wouldn't transfer it to him. It would be my house for sure.
You would have separate finances?
I don't know about that, but in terms of like where I want to live, I'm 100% picking that on my own and getting my own house.
But
so if the man comes and
so
goes...
your bank accounts would go together, but you'd keep the house in your name?
If we're married, I guess we'd figure it out as we go, but I'd probably like date someone and then... I don't know, I just don't want to be dependent. I don't want to like...
You don't want to be dependent? So, right, exactly. You don't want to be dependent. So why get married?
I think many women divorce their husbands because the ladies think they know more about raising children than men. Men tend to be tougher on children when it comes to discipline. Most women don't like that, and I am willing to bet that many divorces happen because the woman gives the man a request to go easier on the child, and the husband refuses. So, the lady divorces the husband and raises the child to let them think that they can do anything they want with no consequences. Of course, when the child grows up and finds out that they can't break the law with no consequences, the child who is now an adult has to do adult time in jail. All of this could have been avoided if the father was there to teach the child that bad behavior has consequences. Great job, ladies, at destroying families and raising prisoners.
You have to watch this woman.
So let me get this straight. So many modern day women think that they're the prize because basically they're a functioning adult and they pay their bills. Like, congratulations for paying your electric bill. I guess that means you deserve princess treatment. Meanwhile, these women are ill-mannered, don't know how to communicate, they don't know how to take constructive criticism, they only know how to focus on negative behaviors instead of positive behaviors, they have unhealed trauma that they constantly project onto other people, they're selfish and entitled and expect everyone to cater to them while they give nothing in return. They have poor time management, they don't have any priorities in place, they don't know how to focus, they don't know what they really want in life, which is why they dabble in everything and sleep around. They prefer negative attention rather than no attention at all. Their idea of positive friendships is how many followers they have, and their reputation online is more important than who they are in real life.
It will all probably come down to traditional women holding feminist and modern women accountable for their actions and why they will die alone. The question is, whether that happens before or after 2030, when 45% of women will be alone and childless. My guess is no. I'll be raising my daughters to know that being a wife and mother are the most fulfilling jobs a woman can have. Everything else is secondary.
One thing I know for sure as a business owner is when someone comes onto a job, the first thing you have to do is train them. The person that's easiest to train is the one who has prior experience. So if you've lived 30 odd years and you have not been submissive and you've not been following a man's lead, then you're going to come into that relationship with a lot of baggage, a lot of training is going to be required, and it's going to be quite chaotic. Like, for example, there's a number of women that you could ask, they're probably not here. Many of them might be in Mississippi, Louisiana.
Just maybe.
Yeah. Yes, they'll be there. You say, can you follow a man's lead? Yes, full stop, no explanation. When you have the explanation, that's when we know there's a problem.
Women do things based on how they feel and then think about the action later. That's a recipe for stress and anxiety. That's a recipe for bad decisions and unprofitable consequences. Men, on the other hand, take action first. Then after we're done, we may think about how we feel about it. This usually results in men engaging in something that will relax them. We're just hardwired very differently. It's not like men don't get stressed. Men feel the burnout too. But we're just able to tolerate it better because we're biologically and physiologically created to withstand the pressure. The real issue with this, especially in the United States, is that we get influenced by whatever we see on television. Most of our time is forced to be given to these major media corporations to barely keep our heads above water.
Women need social proof. We don't.
That's not true.
That women don't want social proof?
status. No.
Okay, let me ask you a question then. We met in London, and you find me attractive. I'm like, oh, I'm throwing a party. Like, I'd love for you to come. Bring some of your girlfriends. It's gonna be awesome. And you're like, cool, yeah, for sure. You show up, you and your girlfriends, and there's 50 dudes and like 3 girls. Are you staying?
No.
Okay. Switch it up. 50 girls, like 5 guys. Are you staying?
Yeah.
I wonder why. Social proof is important, isn't it?
It's not about social proof.
That is social proof.
Women feel more comfortable being in an environment full of women.
See, here's the thing. Your ability to feel safe is rooted in social proof. The man being able to have a bunch of women there displays an ability of, this guy has some kind of social semblance, this guy's able to...
See, I wouldn't have even thought of it like that. I would have been like, great.
Because women live life on easy mode. You don't even understand all the bits and pieces of work that go into men creating an environment for women to have fun. Like, this is what I mean when I say girls have zero concept of what it's like to be a man or to be attractive. And
the irony of this century is how women fought to have a place and seat on the corporate board of executives and women. After winning their right to equality, more and more women are now thinking of ways to not have a seat on the board, and instead have a comfortable seat in the kitchen and their TV lounge. Women thought living in a man's world was easy until they did it. The reason we men make it look easy to them is because we are built for it. Men are built to handle stress. While it can have negative effects on us, they are not nearly as severe as they are for women, because men can remove their emotions from the situation, but women can't. Emotions control women's basic thoughts and impulses, and no matter how hard they try, it's part of their DNA to be emotionally driven. A woman who aspires to be the primary provider is like a man who laments his inability to procreate. Therefore, even while feminism helped women pursue better and more independent lives, it did not differentiate between the level of independence and personal freedom. Because they aspired to be men, women started to despise men for being too macho. Indeed, feminism hates guys. That is the true situation. Additionally, if you browse social media these days, you'll see a ton of videos featuring women who are reaching their breaking point and realize how foolish it was for them to put off starting a family and finding a permanent home. They are lamenting that instead of receiving the same level of attention and validation from men as they once did, men are instead going after younger women who have a desire to settle down and live a comfortable family life. Women spend half of their lives dreaming about getting pumped from Chad's adventurous sausage and later realize he's been doing that with dozens of other women. The next half is spent realizing how wrong they were about feminism and how there's no chance for them to have a better life because they've hit the wall hard. The independent women burnout is not the 9-to-5 job. It's Chad's 24/7 hot dog carousel. Sooner or later, it will burn out the divorced, married, single, daddy-dependent, pre-walled, post-walled, PhD, liberated modern women of today. These women are racking up more mileage than an 18-wheeler, and they expect a good mechanic or simp to keep fixing all the breakdowns and major repairs, just to get them all fixed up for the return of Chad's hot dog carousel again. Many have tried to be captain, save a 304, but all have failed. Feminism encouraged and empowered women to begin living their lives without the assistance of men, and this is how it made a difference in the world. It showed them that if they chose to pursue their education and go up the corporate ladder, they could become financially independent. It showed women that even without males in their lives, they could still support their families and earn money to raise kids. It gave them the confidence to believe they could live their life as they saw fit, be who they wanted to be, and not be constrained by their innate urge to have children and nurture them. Over time, more and more women pursued careers in business, believed they could replace men as the dominant members of society, and essentially wasted their reproductive and prime years chasing either the traditional bad guys or their corporate goals. But as soon as these women reached their 30s and beyond, they began to realize that becoming pregnant was getting more and more difficult as time went on. Their discovery that life wasn't simply about accumulating riches or sticking to the extreme versions of feminism that make these women believe they can spend their lives without men or having kids while adhering to their inherent feminine instincts marked the beginning of their change in perspective. As time went on, an increasing number of women chose professions in business, thinking they might take the place of men as the dominating members of society. As a result, they virtually wasted their prime and reproductive years pursuing corporate objectives or the classic villains. But as these ladies got older, into their 30s and beyond, they realized that getting pregnant was becoming harder and harder with time. The beginning of their shift in perspective came when they realized that life wasn't just about making money or adhering to extreme feminisms that led these women to believe they could live their lives devoid of men or children while still honoring their innate feminine instincts. Younger women today are much more thankful for old-school masculinity than their older counterparts. Date a woman in her mid-30s, and she doesn't need the car door opened for her. Open the car door for a girl in her 20s, and she looks at you like you just saved her from a burning building. I think the younger generation of females is going to eventually hate the older generation for what they've done. In all honesty, women regret feminism since it elevated them above and completely deviated from the ideal of a woman as prescribed by universal laws of nature. It is expected of a woman to take care of others, nurture others, and raise families. There's a reason why women, not males, possess the biological capacity to bear children. But ladies become disturbed when they defy their nature for an extended period. It starts to make them realize that they are squandering their time by avoiding what they should be doing and doing what males are meant to do. To take care of children, men don't try to become feminine and raise children. They are content with who they are and carrying out their role as protectors and providers. They don't attempt to emulate women or assume feminine roles. Overall, feminism failed to liberate women as it intended, since liberty is not the same as financial independence. It encourages women to be at ease with who they are and with expressing their feminine side. Men have traditionally been protectors and providers for women. They thrive in these roles. It motivates them. Similar to males, women's true mission isn't to run major corporations or join the boards of publicly traded firms. It's to be women. Thanks for watching Man Reacts. Show us your love and support by liking this video, sharing it with your friends, and subscribing to the channel. Support us and help us spread support for men around the world. Do comment and share your thoughts. We're always up for a healthy debate and discussion.